furious. As a Jew living in the UK, bringing up a young family, this has cemented for me that the UK is not a place for me and my family anymore. And I'm absolutely heartbroken, Vanessa.
Tell me what that means. Does that mean you're thinking of leaving? Will you go somewhere? And if you go, where will you go?
I think the only place we can go is to our homeland, to Israel. I don't know when. It won't be tomorrow. I've got a young family with children in school. But what Keir Starmer has done today does not represent me, does not represent the Jewish community, and is totally unacceptable.
Right, that's the reaction on LBC. Let's hear what he's actually done, Keir Starmer.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East, we are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution. That means a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state. At the moment, we have neither. Ordinary people, Israeli and Palestinian, deserve to live in peace, to try to rebuild their lives free from violence and suffering. That's what the British people desperately want to see. Yet, almost 2 years after the barbaric attacks of October the 7th, hostages are still held by the terrorists of Hamas. Recent images show the hostages suffering and emaciated. Hamas even refuse to release all the bodies of the dead. I have met British families of the hostages. I see the torture that they endure each and every day, pain that strikes deep in people's hearts across Israel and here in the United Kingdom. The hostages must be released immediately, and we will keep fighting to bring them home. Let's be frank. Hamas is a brutal terror organization. Our call for a genuine two-state solution is the exact opposite of their hateful vision. So we are clear. This solution is not a reward for Hamas, because it means Hamas can have no future, no role in government, no role in security. We have already prescribed and sanctioned Hamas, and we will go further. I have directed work to sanction other Hamas figures in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, the man-made humanitarian crisis in Gaza reaches new depths. The Israeli government's relentless and increasing bombardment of Gaza, the offensive of recent weeks, the starvation and devastation are utterly intolerable. Tens of thousands have been killed, including thousands as they tried to collect food and water. This death and destruction horrifies all of us. It must end. We have evacuated the first group of sick and injured children to the United Kingdom to be treated by the NHS, and we continue to increase our humanitarian support. But still, nowhere near enough aid is getting through. We call again on the Israeli government to lift the unacceptable restrictions at the border, stop these cruel tactics, and let the aid surge in. With the actions of Hamas, the Israeli government escalating the conflict, and settlement building being accelerated in the West Bank, the hope of a two-state solution is fading. But we cannot let that light go out. That is why we are building consensus with leaders in the region and beyond around our framework for peace. This is a practical plan to bring people together behind a common vision and a series of steps, including the reform of the Palestinian Authority, that takes us from a ceasefire in Gaza to negotiations on a two-state solution. We will keep driving this forward. As part of this effort, I set out in July the terms upon which we would act in line with our manifesto to recognise Palestinian statehood. That moment has now arrived. So today, to revive the hope of peace and a two-state solution, I state clearly, as Prime Minister of this great country, that the United Kingdom formally recognises the State of Palestine. We recognised the State of Israel more than 75 years ago as a homeland for the Jewish people. Today, we join over 150 countries who recognise a Palestinian state also. A pledge to the Palestinian and Israeli people that there can be a better future. I know the strength of feeling that this conflict provokes. We have seen it on our streets, in our schools, in conversations we've had.
Good question, Frank. How can country tell another country? You tell me.
With friends and family. It has created division. Some have used it to stoke hatred and fear, but that solves nothing. Not only must we reject hate, we must redouble our efforts to combat hatred in all its forms. We must channel our efforts, united together in hope, behind the peaceful future that we want to see. The release of the hostages, an end to the violence, an end to the suffering, and a shift back towards a two-state solution as the best hope for peace and security for all sides.
So where are the state? What are the borders of Palestine? That's what I want to know. Let's have a look at this clip.
I'll tell you why this is not entirely clear. You just told me, I think 3 times, that there are not 2 states, but you're about to recognise the one that doesn't exist. How does that make sense?
Well, I think you're putting this a little simplistically.
No, it's not simplistic.
Trevor, no, let me finish the point.
I'm just repeating your words back to me and asking you, what does it mean? There are not 2 states. You're saying you're going to recognise 2 states, because you already recognise Israel. Where's the other one come from?
Trevor.
What's its borders?
Trevor, your viewers know that any decision to recognise a Palestinian state, if that were to take place later on today, does not make a Palestinian state happen overnight. Oh. That has to be part of a peace process. It has to be based on 1967 borders. It has to be based on a shared capital in Jerusalem. That will be for final status discussant. But it is to keep that process alive, a process that the United Kingdom has committed to over successive governments. So that is the decision. It is not to say, as night follows day, you recognise one day and a Palestinian state appears the next. No one thinks it's that easy.
Right, so David Lammy is saying 1967 borders. That is West Bank and East Jerusalem and then Gaza. But when they need like a bridge between the two, some of the protesters in London were dealt with like this for supporting Palestine.
Shame on you!
This is disgusting! Disgusting! You're arresting a hero! You're arresting a hero!
Yeah, freedom of speech in the UK.
So you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks, They're stealing land right now. They're operating apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Like, do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense? Well, when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal direct.
I will tell you this. The part I question where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they're attacking you.
About it. They didn't. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take that. They wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get it.
And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got raped. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit.
They're talking about the Hannibal directive.
Everything that they said was a fucking complete. Not only was it a lie, but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang raping Palestinians. How many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of, or Hamas of, or whatever, they're guilty of 100-fold themselves. And they've been doing that. Like, October 7th wasn't the start of this. Like, the start of this was Nakba. They've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not like, it's not like October 7th is like, it's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. Like, they have been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. It's like they have the justice for the Palestinians and the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, like, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like, like cattle. If a Jew is killed by, somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then, you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. Like, they literally like segregate in their Bibles.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a...
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people, and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, raping, kids that are under 9 years old, like, if you think those things are okay, then, how are you going to operate? Because to me, like, my moral code keeps me on track.
You'll find a lot of Armenians have solidarity with the Palestinian plight. Here's Ehud Olmert, former Israeli Prime Minister.
מה שהביא אותי לכאן היום, חוץ מהחברה הנעימה שלכם, זה מה שקורה בשטחים. בשטחים, בגדה המערבית, ביהודה ושומרון, כפי שאחדים קוראים להם, כן? מתרחשים פשעי מלחמה יום-יום. יהודים רוצחים פלסטינאים, שורפים אותם.
פשעי מלחמה?
כן, פשעי מלחמה. שממשלת ישראל אחראית להם, משטרת ישראל נוכחת בהם, עוצמת את עיניה, צה"ל לא עושה את מה שהוא צריך לעשות.
He couldn't say this when he was Prime Minister. He's saying it now.
כן. זיוף, הולכת שולל והעמדת פנים שלך.
אוקיי.
אוקיי? יום-יום, נערי גבעות, נערי זוועות, מתנפלים, מאות מגורשים, פלסטינאים מגורשים, מותקפים, השדות שלהם נשרפים, הבתים שלהם נשרפים. אתמול רק, בחור שהגיע בכלל אזרח אמריקאי, הוקע עם נבוט בראש ונהרג. אנחנו אחראים לו. הוא מתנהל בשטחים שאנחנו שולטים בהם, הוא מתנהל על ידי יהודים שמקבלים גיבוי, והטענה שזה מיעוט היא טענת כזב.
Even he is criticizing his own government. Shall we listen to a bit of Charlie Kirk on the same topic?
Realize that Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who is obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket. the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
So there still seems to be like speculation about who Epstein was working for. Was it Mossad? Was it someone else? I don't know. But if you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father was, then it would be quite possible, if not likely. Let's have a listen to more from Benjamin Netanyahu.
תגיד, התחזקת קצת?
אני מקווה שאני תמיד חזק, אם אתה מתכוון...
ברמה הרוחנית.
ברמה הרוחנית, אתה יודע, כשאתה מגיע למבחנים האלה, אתה שואל תמיד השאלה, מדוע, מה אתה עושה כאן? מה אנחנו עושים כאן? אנחנו כאן בשליחות של דורות. יש דורות של יהודים שחלמו שנגיע לכאן, ויש דורות של יהודים שיבואו אחרינו. אז אתה שואל אם אני מרגיש שאני בשליחות היסטורית ורוחנית, התשובה היא כן.
אני לא רוצה לסבך אותך לסיום עם תיק 6000, אבל...
מה זה?
זה הוויז'ן שלי, זה אחד הדברים שחלמתי עליהם, מפת הארץ המובטחת.
יפה.
הגיע הזמן, קוראים לזה ירושלם. אני לא...
So the UK has already recognized Israel. It's just about to recognize the Palestinian state. But what you're seeing on the screen now is a conversation about an envisaged future of Israel, greater Israel.
תן את זה לך, אני מעניק את זה לך כדי שתיתן את זה לרדך שרה.
תודה רבה.
אתה מתחבר לחזון?
מאוד.
באמת?
מאוד.
בישראל השלמה.
Wow, so he's saying he connects with the vision of greater Israel. That would be from the Nile to the Euphrates. Here's another protest.
And I am proud to represent Palestine. I'm a Welsh British trained nurse. Why do you need a cage? They're saying peaceful, retired medical protesters in. You know things have got bad when my colleagues, my emergency colleagues, are arresting us for holding a bit of paper with words in. I apologise to the people of Palestine for what Britain is doing in Palestine. I apologise to the people of Britain that for so many years we've turned a blind eye to the Zionist lobby, and now the Zionist lobby is paying these whores in their ivory tower who will still bend over for enough money to now getting medics arrested for peaceful protesting against genocide and to stand up for other peaceful protesters. 5 times I worked in Palestine as an emergency medic, 4 times in Gaza. I was in Gaza in the last Nakba. I witnessed things there after 30 years of work in emergency. They are warm, welcoming, hospitable Muslim people. They're a strong, resilient, and I am proud to represent Palestine. I'm a Welsh British trained nurse. Why do you need a cage? They're saying now they need cages to put peaceful, retired medical protesters in. You know things have got bad when my colleagues, my emergency colleagues, are arresting us for holding up bits of paper with words in. I apologise to the people of Palestine for what Britain is doing in Palestine. I apologise to the people of Britain that for so many years we've turned a blind eye.
Wow, amazing. I did see a clip of him on the front line in Egypt, and he was begging them to open the border, let the aid in. Here's a clip from Lebanon, a bit further afield, but same region.
تطلع فيها بتشوف هياكل عظمية عم تتحرك، وفي ملايين العرب قاعدين بيتفرجوا. في ملايين في مصر على بعد أمتار من أزهر مصر، على بعد أمتار من كعبة محمد بن عبد الله، أطفال فلسطين بيموتوا جوع. على بعد أمتار من 80 مليون من أتباع محمد بن عبد الله في مصر، أطفال فلسطين بيموتوا من الجوع. هذا معيب للتاريخ بحق الجماهير العربية أكثر من الأنظمة بنعرفها. ما فيش كم شهيد سقط في المظاهرات وهو ما يحاول يقتحم غزة. ما فيش، ما حداش سقط. لو بينزل مظاهرة من مليونين مصري ما بيبقاش المجزرة، ما بيبقاش حرب الإبادة. المسألة بتتوقف على جماهير مصر بالتحديد أكثر من أي طرف آخر. مناضلي العالم عم يتحملوا مسؤولياتهم تحت في أعماقه. لما بنت اسمها من السويد بتيجي عمرها 20 سنة، جريتا 20 سنة بتيجي مقابل غزة، بالوقت اللي ملاحي مصر قاعدين بيتفرجوا وما يقولوا نصيبهم بالجنة. تفضلوا يفرجونا جنة إنه ما.
Brian Burton is saying virtue signalling. What's the difference between virtue signalling and just being virtuous, Brian? I'd love to know. You think he's not genuine, the guy, the Welsh guy?
حدود غزة. رسالتي انه نلتف حول المقاومة اكثر من اي وقت مضى، اليوم اكثر من اي وقت مضى. هياكل عظمية للاطفال عم بتشوفوها انتم، هياكل عظمية للاطفال عم تتحرك، وفي ملايين العرب بيتفرجوا. من المعيب على كل عربي انه يتفرج. عم تجي جريتا عمرها 17 سنة 18 سنة، تجي من السويد لحتى تتضامن مع غزة. نحن بنسأل وين ابناء مصر؟ وين بنات مصر؟ وين نساوين مصر؟ وين رجال مصر؟ جورج شو حتكمل وين المناضلين؟ وين الجماهير العادية؟ حد ادنى من الكرامة. لما بنقول في بمصر 104 ملايين، كم مليون نزل في الشارع؟ يكفي انه ينزل مليون واحد على حدود غزة تتنتهي المذبحة، تتنتهي حرب الإبادة. مليون مليون واحد.
Yeah, وين الملايين? Where are the millions? There's a man feeling let down. So, even though Britain has recognise the Palestinian state, let's not forget they are providing real-time surveillance data to the state that is occupying Palestine. Alright folks, this has been a good one. Thanks for watching. This is only the backup channel. Do check out Lessons for Life, the main channel